So we have a comment that says I should start it with "What's up, span readers?" I think it's a pun, a pretty bad pun, but maybe we'll just go with it. Some people like it. There are positive comments. What's up, span readers? This is Stephen and Phantology with another Rhythm of War chapter breakdown. We got chapter 9 this morning. We're just getting one at a time. He started off giving us two, but I guess we backed off a little bit. We have to be content with just the one. But this chapter, honestly, out of all of the Rhythm of War chapters we've got so far, this has been my favorite chapter thus far, which is maybe kind of weird because the previous chapters all had a bunch of fighting and action, and this one was more of a reflection. We got more secrets. Maybe that's why I liked it. I thought there was some really strong emotional moments. So I loved it. Fight me on that. Join our Discord. Let us know what you think of this chapter. If you like Phantology, you can find us online at www.phantologybooks.com, on social media at Phantology Books. We have a few things running right now. You can join Audible on us a little bit and get an extra promotion there. We have links to that on our website, on our posts. You can also get some extra Patreon benefits, also linked everywhere. And we have a new merch store with a few original designs. I actually ordered one. We have this like author buddies shirt that I ordered that I think you'll see on future podcasts once shipping makes its way over to me. So that said, let's get into chapter 9. And I do these every week. So if you're looking for a little extra bit on your plate after reading the chapter, hop on here. This is primarily a summarization of what happened, as well as some theories and speculation, and maybe some hot takes and my reactions from the chapter. A lot of the theories are derived from our conversation on Discord. So Phantology has kind of a think tank going to come up with theories that are ultimately going to be correct. We are going to outsmart Brandon Sanderson himself. That is a Phantology guarantee. Immediately rewriting the guarantee, but I feel like I have to make a guarantee every episode now after the guarantee from last episode, which was that we will see someone from Mistborn, someone from Scadrial come over. So my guarantee this episode is that one of our theories will be correct, and we'll get into those theories in a little bit. So chapter 9 starts with more metals, with more Mistborn magic going on. This time we're talking pewter. So Navani says that pewter is used for augmenter fabrials, which make the spren manifest more or less, which makes a lot of sense because pewter is used for primarily like physical strength, and that just makes sense that it's going to beef up your spren when used in a fabrial. The first viewpoint, we get 3 viewpoints in this one. We have a Kaladin, we have a Navani, and we have a Shallan viewpoint, and they just go back to back. There's no hopping around. It might be the case that our initial avalanche is over. Sanderson has said that he made a informed decision, made a purposeful decision to start the book with almost a climax, and that reflects the year of time that has passed. And I think that's over. I think we're kind of going more into some of the more mundane, but not less interesting, just more mundane moments of Rhythm of War, of Stormlight Archive. So Kaladin comes to, after the events of chapter 8, back on the 4th bridge. He's leaving Hearthstone. There's this nice imagery as he sees the town. It looks like kind of a discarded crab shell. We assume that Rashon must be dead. We weren't sure 100% if he was dead in chapter 8. I was pretty sure, but there were some folks on Discord who were saying, no, you know, Renarin could have healed him, but he's dead, right? His throat is slit, so he's gone. And this part with Kaladin, this was some emotional stuff. This is some pretty weighty stuff. It's no surprise that Kaladin has depression. Definitely not the first that we've seen of this. But I thought this writing was the strongest writing of Kaladin's character and his depressed state that we've seen so far. Maybe just really resonated with me because I think we've all kind of felt these types of feelings, maybe some more than others, but this felt so real to me. His depression here, his thoughts of he wanted to return home triumphantly and bring, help his family, help his friends. And instead he's looking out at the desiccated remains of his town. And that feels like a failure to him, to add to the failures of Tien and Elhokar, this weight of responsibility on his shoulders. He has these moments with Syl where Syl says, Kaladin, I really want to help you. I want to understand you. And she can't, and it's heartbreaking. And he says something like, when you figure me out, Syl, let me know, because I can't figure it out either. It's some tough stuff here. There's a really good quote here that I just wanted to read off. He says, why can't he stand up tall, stride towards the sun like the hero everyone pretended he was? He has these moments where he's thinking about who he wanted to be, who everyone thinks he is, really. Because in other people's eyes, in Teft's eyes, in the eyes of the other Windrunners, maybe not Teft as much. I think Teft understands a little bit more. But in the eyes of the other Windrunners, he's this triumphant hero. And that's the persona that he puts on. And I think in these moments where we all struggle, we do the same thing. You have to act the part for a lot of the times. But then in those quiet moments, it's tough. You can really break down. And so I think we see this here really beautifully. Teft comes over. He understands some, but not all. And he just kind of gets Kaladin to do his duty of congratulating this other Windrunner, Laren, who is sworn the third ideal. Kaladin goes over and he does so. And then you kind of get the zoom out camera moment on Kaladin where you see him do this, and then you see him go join up with the squad that's going to fly off. And he's so lonely. He's so incredibly lonely and on his own. And man, you feel for him. I really hope Kaladin can get some. It's heartbreaking to read these moments and see where he's gone as a character, but still see the struggles that still plague him. And I think that's so true. And it's something that we can all relate to, the progress, but also the steps back and the struggles that we continue to deal with as humans. So that's Kaladin's portion. The Navani portion starts here. I love Navani's viewpoints as well. The tone shift between all three of these characters is awesome. And you can see how well Sanderson characterizes each of them. So Navani's pondering deviations and secrets in her life. She ponders on the fused EMP fabrial that we saw in chapter 8. She says she realizes it's the same design as the pillar at the center of Urithiru, and she's wondering, why would a radiant, why would something that powers the radiance, as we think that Urithiru does, why would this be an EMP thing that's going to also take away the radiant powers that the fused are using? She doesn't really understand how either works because they don't seem to abide by the regular fabrial rules, and neither do soulcasters. She kind of thinks about soulcasters here. They don't seem to abide by a lot of the rules that she set out in the lecture series that start the beginning of the chapters. She's learned that all these soulcasters have radiant spren, smaller versions of the spren that are unresponsive in Shadesmar. So there's something going on here with the soulcasters, more so that we know. So speculate away. I don't think we have a theory for this as much, but obviously these soulcasters are something fairly significant. Speaking of soulcasters, they have been to Amia and found a cache of soulcasters there. I think that's something that you may just kind of gloss over because it's just like a one-liner. She talks about, oh yeah, we went to Amia and we got a bunch of soulcasters, but they've been to Amia? I mean, that's a big deal. That's a huge deal. I think we're going to get this story in Dawnshard. But the novella Dawnshard is going to be 75% from Rissen's POV and 25 from Lopin's POV. And we're setting up to get some Amia action. And this is exciting. This is really something that like a casual fan may not even know what it is because there's so much going on in Stormlight. But we saw a interlude chapter that dealt with them trying to get to Amia and failing. This was a kind of offhand POV that characters' names I'm not coming to mind right now. And we know that it's kind of this like separate island thing that has this whole mystery attached to it. We've seen Amiens in at least one other. Well, also Lift was or not Lift, but also Wit / Hoyd was talking to an Amien at the end of Words of Radiance when he's waiting for Yasna to return. I believe, correct me on that if I'm wrong. And the Amiens are these beings that are formed by a bunch of different crab shells. So they're not human. Anyway, I'm looking forward to figuring out what's going on there. They had a bunch of Fabrials, a bunch of Soulcasters, which seems odd. This went down. So Navani's making a bunch of progress everywhere except for here. She talks about how they're able to power Urithiru now, and a lot of these physical principles are making sense, and she's understanding more and more, except for the ability to handle the Soulcasters and figure out the Urithiru pillar and the EMP fused. I keep on calling it that until we get a better name. She's riding in this tiny palanquin thing. It's kind of like a cool little spaceship almost type of design. Dalinar is flying outside, and she reflects on that relationship and how Dalinar is still the stubborn man, but she loves him for it. She makes the analogy that Dalinar is flying like a chol through the air, while the Windrunners are sky eels. That's a fun analogy. I love how Sanderson's built out his world enough where he can make these analogies that make sense. That's pretty cool stuff. Apparently, the Shattered Plains aren't really as shattered anymore. Now we have permanent bridges and farms going on there. Okay, input from comments. Are all Amiens made of Kremlings or just these weird sleepless guys? Check Coppermind, but I'm pretty sure there's two types. And one are sleepless, made of Kremlings, and the other are different, but I can't remember how. I think we've seen both. So go ahead and check that and let us know in Discord. The next thing with Navani, she gets contacted by a mysterious being, someone, from a span reed ruby that was like taped to the underside of her flying spaceship palanquin under her desk. And it connects her to someone once she hooks it up to a span reed, some unknown being that tells her to stop making Fabrials and imprisoning Spren. Ominous warnings are given, etc., etc. And they say, stop making these new Fabrials. We don't know what this is. Obviously, we're setting up a new mystery. So this, I'm guessing, is going to be a big part of the plot going forward. There have been some speculations that going back to Amiens, this could be an Amien. It could be coming from like a Shin person. It could be coming from, who knows? Discord, we speculated maybe from the Ardents who are measuring Spren. Back in the, it's got something to do with Spren, maybe from a Spren itself. They talk about how you can't trust Honor Spren anymore, which kind of goes in line with what we saw in Oathbringer. What even is the new Fabrial that she's making? She's not making any new Fabrials. That was all point of what she's reflecting on. She's just using new technology, or not new technology. She's using technology to advance, but it's not anything new. So are we referring to the Soulcaster she found? And Amia, this is a big question mark. So we have some theories, but really nothing concrete. So let us know what you're thinking here. Okay, we're done with Navani. She lands here, going off to Urithiru, we assume, with this now new mystery to pursue. Third part of the chapter is the Shallan part, Shallan and Adolin primarily. And in chapter 8, I complained that Shallan and Adolin were cheesy, and I don't always like Sanderson's romances, but I like it here for the most part. It's nice to see Adolin trying to piece together all of these secrets and being kind of clueless, but this duplicity is Shallan's whole life. So you see the contrast between their characters, but you also see Adolin's acceptance of who Shallan is. You can tell how much he loves her by the attention that he pays to her and how he can realize when she's going into different personas really quickly. So he's obviously very attentive to his complicated and crazy wife. And that's awesome. It's nice to see. Also nice to see how much Shallan loves him and how intimate they are. for as far as what actually happens, they are in a carriage traveling back to Urithiru because the Windrunners are busy. They have to go the old-fashioned way. And they talk about some of the secret societies that Shallan has been investigating. Adolin tries to understand. This is maybe a little bit of an infodump for the readers. Okay, yeah, so input here from YouTube Xyz the Collector is the Amian, the Shia Amian, I guess. Blue skin, tattoos himself, drinks a lot. Yeah. Yeah, we've seen him. Have we seen him twice? We've seen him at least once. So that's the other type of Amian that we've seen. Two types. Yeah, okay. So Shallan and Adolin, they're talking about these secret societies, and they're trying to piece it together. And Shallan, now we get a little more backstory hint as to what's going on with her. And she she even gives a name to this lurking personality. We talked about this. Phantology predicted this, that there was a fourth personality. She calls it Formless. And this is a big red flag because it seems like this is just like an evil personality or something that has no form, no real like personality to it. It's just like a personality of despair almost. And she's keeping it at bay, but it's bubbling up. And our theory was that the fourth personality is the one that's actually the traitor. So Shallan herself is the traitor. We'll see. Yeah, Formless is the real Shallan. Another comment coming through. That's kind of the idea, right? That Formless is possibly the real Shallan, and Shallan herself is not real. It's some entity that she has formed for herself to hide from whatever Formless actually knows. And this maybe goes back to her backstory even further than what we saw in Words of Radiance. There's a theory that she did something to attract the Unmade. Well, first of all, there's a theory that there was an Unmade that was influencing her family and possibly made their fields go fallow and made her father be so unpredictable and violent. And so maybe Formless, the real Shallan, is the one that caused this to happen. Big unknown right now, but we are sticking to our theory with the fourth personality already been proved, so check mark there. But we're sticking to the theory that Formless / Shallan / something going on here is the real traitor that she's investigating, and this is going to come out and be the big reveal. The other big reveal that actually caused my mouth to drop a little bit was when she's reading into Iale's notebook. There are names of other Cosmere planets, systems. We have Nalthis, Scadrial, and Taldian. Taldian? The White Sand planet. Anyway, I stumbled over the mispronunciation because there are some nice slight spelling changes that reflect the fact that everything in Roshar is spelled in a way where it's so symmetrical. And so that makes sense here where it's like Nalithis or Skeadriel or something like that. Taldane makes sense to misspell it to make it a little more Rosharan. Anyway, that's nice. Taldane. And then the other name that we get is Thyadakar, my guess. And that's circled a few times in Iale's notebook as someone of importance. Shallan is assuming that this is some kind of ghost blood leader, which checks out with what we know because we have heard this name before. We've heard it in the prologue of Way of Kings, where Gavilar tells Szeth that he can tell Thyadakar that he's too late. So Gavilar, as a son of honor, is probably telling this ghost blood leader that he's too late to do something related to these Cosmere mysteries. So awesome. We're getting big Cosmere crossovers. I'm kind of questioning, how much further is Sanderson going to push this in this book? Like, is he going for the full MCU crossover here? And are people that haven't read the other books going to be lost? Thus far, the relationship with the rest of the Cosmere has been kind of ancillary, where it's almost like a bonus treat for you if you've read them all, but it's not necessarily, you don't have to, it's not required for the plot yet, but it might be becoming more required. So we'll see. I'm interested to see her. I mean, as a passionate fan, sure, make it crossover as much as you want, Brando Sando. But I wonder how much he considers the reader who's only read Stormlight and how he balances that. I think that would be a nice question to ask him in these live streams. The chapter ends with Shallan getting close to a breaking point, and she's really it's really looking bleak for her. Shallan and Kaladin both have it rough right now with their different mental states, kind of coming to a real breaking point. And Shallan, we're concerned, is going towards this formless state. She's unable to tell Adolin everything. It's really concerning. So looking forward to the next chapter now. I thought this one was great. Loved chapter 9. I think chapter 10 will probably be pretty similar, where we start to set up more action. I think we're done with the breakneck action, which is fine for me because I actually enjoy the secrets and the reveals more than the action. Maybe that's a little strange. Unpopular opinion, perhaps. If you like Phantology, again, check us out at Phantology Books. Please hop on Discord and let us know your opinions. Let us know your theories, and we will work them into our community and into our guarantees that we are going to get something right. Something that we predict is going to be correct. So we had a comment saying that the lack of Moash was great. He pisses me off. I think that's true. I think that's everyone's opinion, not an unpopular opinion. Very popular opinion there, John, that Moash is someone we can all hate. I think it's nice to see him on screen, though. It adds to the conflict. And I think everyone liked chapter 8 because we had that conflict in it. I mean, you have to have it. So that's it for me. Thanks for watching, listening, however you consumed this, and we'll see everyone next time.